Okay, so this is the second part of the airplane project. In this activity, I'm going to show you how to create 3D parts from your sketches to make your design. The one I'm using is, I'm basing it kind of off of this plane design right here. This is a Mustang Warbird, and this is going to start in Inventor. So go ahead and open up Inventor, get this baby pulled up, and we're going to start by making parts. Eventually we're going to turn these into drawings, but for this first bit we're going to make a separate part file for each and every part or component that we have for our design. So I'm making this with just 3 so I can show you an example of a really simple one. So I'm going to start with my first part, and I'm going to start with a 2D sketch, and I like to use the XZ plane excuse me, when I'm creating wings. The XY is good for the body, or the YZ is good for the body, but this one's probably the best for wings, so the flat top-down looking one. So I'm going to click there, and for whatever reason Inventor loves to turn this a weird sideways. You can always rotate this 90 degrees so the top is written correctly. And I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to make my overall wing size first. So I'm going to use my 2-point rectangle. Click here. Start in the origin, so right at 0, 0. I'm going to bring this out and decide how large I want this to be. So I've decided in my design that I want it to be 10 inches wide and 3 inches deep, like that. At its greatest. So this is the largest space that's going to take. And you can see that in here that it's actually going to be smaller once I kind of turn these into triangle shapes. But I'm going to start with my overall size first. So once I've got that, I'm going to come in here to the middle, and I'm going to try and, let me explain first. So my design, I want it to slide into this gap right here. This is the body that I've got created. So it looks kind of like this in 3D. Looks like this from the side. And it's going to slide in there just kind of like those balsa wood planes that you get in like the dollar store. So I'm going to measure, another thing, let's say I've got this part made and I can't remember how wide the wings need to be, I can always inspect. I can use the inspect bar in Inventor, go to measure, and I can click a line or any 2 dots, so like from here to here, and it will tell me what that measurement is, and it's 3 inches. So that's 3 inches, and I come in here, I want to see how deep this is, 1, 2, like that. And it's going to say 0.188. What that actually means is that's 3/16. It's rounding it, but it's 0.1875. So that's the 3/8. That's how thick the foam core is. Okay, so on here, I'm going to jump in here. That looks good. And now I'm going to try and draw a space right here in the middle that represents where, not that one, where it slides into this. So as if I'm looking from the top, right here, it's going to go right here. So I'm going to jump in with this rectangle, click here, and this is my 2-point center mark rectangle, and I'm going to make this really narrow. I'm going to make it 3/16 of an inch wide, so I'm going to say 3 divided by 16, and then hit enter, or tab, and then make it 3 inches, or 30. That's a little excessive. Let's do that again. Sketch 3 divided by 16, tab, 3, enter. Okay, so it should look like that. So this is kind of where this wing is going to start from here. So I know that this area is going to be inside of the plane, this will be on the right, and this will be on the left. So I'm going to come in with my line tool, and I'm going to jump in here, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball how I want this to look. In fact, I'm going to have to take a look again. So it looks like this has a little bit of an angle here, almost straight, kind of rounded, and then it comes back like that. So I can make this a little steeper, I think. If I come in here, I can drag these points, kind of like that. this is a little bit, it comes in just a tiny bit, and then this last bit comes straight back there. So there's that. And then I can get nitpicky with dimensioning. So if I come in here and I say dimension, I can decide what angles I like the most. So I could come in here and say between these two lines, 65. I could round that and say like it's just 65 degrees. And then I come over here, maybe see this and this. And it's at 3. Almost here, so I'll just say it's 3 degrees. And here and here. Oh, not that one. Here to here is about 7, so I'll just say 7 degrees. And then notice how I kind of left this one alone. If I put angles on every single thing here, like this, it's going to over-constrain it. Oh, actually, that one seems to work. Let's try 160. Okay, never mind, that worked. So if I try this one over here, it probably won't like it. Yeah, so it'll over-constrain. So once you get to this point, it says you're over-constraining it. Just say cancel and just let the sketch do its thing. Okay, so here's the right side. The right wing is kind of figured out here. And rather than drawing the other side, if I'm making something that's symmetrical, I can save myself a lot of time using the mirror tool. And we can use the mirror tool in 2D or in 3D. So we've done it in 2D before. I'm going to show you how to do it in 3D because I think it's a lot easier. So first I'm going to decide where's the mirror line going to be. And for this one, it's going to be right down the middle. So I'm going to go line tool. I'm going to start right here and then come straight down it and cut this right down the middle. So we've got a really narrow, two lines that are, or two rectangles that are super narrow next to each other. So I'll say finish sketch. And I've left this side blank, that's okay. I'm going to go to extrude, and I'm going to be really careful not to click the other side of this. I want this one, everything that's on the right. So click that side, and then I'm also going to click this space here, and I'm going to make sure that this is at 3 divided by 16. Hit enter. There it is. And now the sketch is going to disappear. That's okay. This shows me how to make this side right here, and that's looking pretty good. If I wanted to do some cool stuff, I could come in here and I can round these corners with a fillet if I wanted to. And I think my design actually does have that a little bit, but just for simplicity, I'm going to forego that today and just make this an angular looking plane. So I'm going to come in here and now I'm going to reflect this, use the mirror tool in the 3D mode, so not in sketch mode, but in 3D model. And it looks like this right here. So I'll hit mirror, click the body, mirror plane, right here, and then OK. Boom, look at that. So I just made both sides of the wing perfectly symmetrical, and it was a lot easier than doing it all by hand. So now I'm going to say File, Save. I'm going to call this main wings, and I've saved this in my teacher drive, or I guess like my F drive or whatever, and I created a folder that was the name of the plane. So I've got 2 others in here. This one's the Mustang, and I've got the 2 other parts already saved. So I'll click Save, and they're all in here. So I've got my main body, the tail, so it looks like that, and then the main wings that look like this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and drop them into a drawing file. So on Canvas, you'll notice right, I'm going to get X out of this real quick. Right, if you go to the Home tab, in the module under Project 1 Airplane Design, there's a 15 by 20 drawing sheet. So I'm going to click on that one, and I'll open it up, and then I click here, and it should download for you. So it'll download this document that's already the right size. So I'll click here. It should open up in Inventor after a few moments. Or several. There we go. Okay. So now this represents the foam board that I have to work with. So I'm going to try and keep things in as much the same area as I can, just to save space. So I'm going to go in here and say base view. So up here, we're all about that base. And I'm going to come into here where it says this little folder, and I'm going to try and find that design I just made. So I'm going to look in here. I've got it. My teacher drive. Under airplane project, Mustang. Okay, so here's my 3 parts. And I'm just going to do these one at a time. So I'm going to maybe grab the main body first. Click that, and it should give you a little highlight or a thumbnail to show you what it looks like. Click open. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to scooch this over a little bit. I'm going to try and put it in the top corner as much as I can, just to save space. Now, one thing you might notice, it looks like it's a little bit smaller, and that is because it is. If I go over here to scale and click down drop, and I go to 2 to 1, or not 2 to 1, I want 1 to 1, that's going to make it the size that we drew it. And it might look kind of small. This only uses, a good third or quarter or so of the space, so we're not using it. We're going to leave a lot of this blank. So click OK, and it should look like this. You don't want it to be shaded or anything like that. You just want it to be this clear outline like that. If it is shaded, you can right click on it like this and say Edit View, and you can deselect or reselect. So right now I'm actually going to make it shaded. So now there's just shading. This is what we don't want that. Nope. So we're going to right click it and say Edit, and then hit this to unshade it. Click OK. There it is. So this should just be solid lines given the outline. So now I'm going to come in here and say base. I'm going to get the next part. So I'll get the tail. So I can open up here, try and find it. There it is. Open. I'm going to reorient this because right here, this side view doesn't give me any detail. I want to get the view that shows where it's going to cut and make sure that it's the right scale. So it's 1 to 1. Bring this over here. Click OK. So there's the tail. And then the last one, base. Open up. I'm going to use main wings. Open. Make sure I've got the right view. So go to the top view on this one. Change it to 1 to 1. That's pretty big. I'll drop it right there and click OK. So there you go. I've got my top, or the main body, the back wings, and then the front, and the main wings. So those are the 3 parts that I've got for this design. And I'm going to come in here and go File, Save. So I'm going to save this to my folder. Sorry, Save As. I'm going to drop it not to my downloads because that's where we saved it when we first downloaded it. So I'm going to go to my project here, Mustang, and then save. And it's going to save it as an inventor drawing.dwg. So click Save. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and drop in, or I'm going to make a PDF of this. I'll go File, Export, PDF, and I'm going to drop in the same place. So drawing sheet, I should rename this and call it the Mustang cutout, like that. Maybe that's a space, I don't know. And then click Save. Okay. And then once you've got that created as a PDF, you can submit it to Canvas, and then next time we'll show you how we can set this up so the laser will cut it out. But once you get to this point, that is really it for this assignment, and you've got it. So it's a little tricky, but I hope this video helps you get that figured out so you can make your plane look awesome and get it cut out on the laser engraver. So thanks and good luck.